Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast. This is Bruce Hutchin, host and executive producer. Each week you will hear tips, techniques, strategies, and personal stories from some of the best and funniest whitetail hunters in North America. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you do, tell a friend on social media. If not, tell me and I'll make it better. Thanks for listening, folks. This is Whitetail Rendezvous, episode number 414. We're heading up to Michigan today. We're going to visit with Bill Hoffman. Bill is the chief steward for Bow Hunters Union. What's Bow Hunters Union all about? Well, what it's about is to improve regulation for all hunting archers while promoting the future bow hunter via the support of youth archery programs. Real simple. Bow hunters need a voice. Bill's providing that voice on all levels in the political arena, with the DNRs, and with the bow hunters themselves, giving them a platform in which they can speak and be heard and have something happen down the road. Yes, there's a lot of other organizations out there, but Bill's is unique, and he's already set up throughout the whole country, and he wants people to come interact and make their sport, our sport, a lot better. So, Bill, welcome to the show. This is Bruce Hutchin, your host at Whitetail Rendezvous. Today we're heading out to Michigan, and we're going to talk with Bill Hoffman. Now, Bill is the chief steward of Bow Hunter Union. Bill, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. I don't know if I have the title as the first returning guest, but I'm proud to be back on with you, Bruce.
Well, I'm proud to have you here. That's for damn sure. And I'm excited about what you got going. We've talked in the past, in the last few months, said I need to get back on the show. So let's start. How did this Bow Hunter Union come to be?
Sure, yeah. So basically, the Bow Hunters Union is a nationwide nonprofit organization protecting the rights of bow hunters. Basically, our mission statement is that we constantly strive to improve regulations for all hunting archers while promoting the future of bow hunting via our support of youth archery programs nationwide. So, a few things that actually were the genesis of this union, this organization, was the first one was there's nothing like us out there. There's lots of other organizations that do great things, but nothing that specifically tailors itself to bow hunters. The second is I had a bad day at work. It really was as simple as that. Listeners of your show know I work in law enforcement, and we all have bad days. And of course, it wasn't the worst day possible, but it was a bad day. And I just thought maybe my focus and my passion for the outdoors can reach out and help people just like my passion for law enforcement does. And, I just live by the creed of building community. That's what I've always been about, is a community. And that's what we are at the Bow Hunters Union. We're a community. And, if the community can help foster, the youth into archery hunting or protect what we already have, I'm actually probably the perfect person to lead that charge. So that's what I did. I started the Bow Hunters Union. And quite honestly, Bruce, I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know how fast it was going to grow. But I can say we're kicking butt. We're doing great. We're nationwide. We've got a bunch of chapter stewards. We'll talk more about the chapters in a little bit. But, and then I said there was three things. And the third thing was, it was actually right here in Michigan, a local township decided, they got a bunch of people on the township board that were elected, and they decided that they weren't going to allow bow hunting in the township. They had always not allowed firearm discharge, but, people were allowed to bow hunt. And I just thought, okay, so who do I call to complain? Well, I could call the NRA, but they're not really into the bow hunting aspect as much. I could call, Pope and Young, but are they going to get involved? And I thought, who is out there that can be a voice, that can be a presence nationwide, that can say, no, this cannot happen. And so that's what we did. We created the Bow Hunters Union.
How'd it go with that township? Did you make any changes?
Yeah. So the township took it right off the ballot once it came to their knowledge that an army, and here's the thing. when something like that happens in, we'll just we'll just say Johnsonville, Michigan. Okay, I made up that. That's not where it is, but we'll say Johnsonville, Michigan, or Backwoods, Missouri. It doesn't matter where it happens. I then get the entire union membership to contact the state reps, the state senators, the township office, the county clerk. We will flood them with, hey, we do not support this. This is why. Bow hunting is safe. It's a way to feed our families. Uh, we will absolutely make our presence known that, listen, you're stirring up, you're kicking a hornet's nest. It's best just to not stir up the hornets and let us do our thing. And quite honestly, all went quiet. It was taken off the ballot. It was never even voted on. So that was a win. And you know, politics is part of what we want to do as the Bow Hunters Union, and also youth archery is actually our main goal, and is supporting youth archery and growing the sport of not only archery but bow hunting specifically.
How are you going to do that on the youth side?
So yeah, so the I'm a member of an archery club here, the Land O'Lakes Bowman. I'm actually on the board of directors. We have a youth archery program, which is really popular. And there's all different kinds of youth archery organizations. There's Joad and National Archery in Our Schools program, and you can apply for grants through these programs. However, the downside, me personally speaking, was that there's a pretty big membership cost, and you have to follow their rules and their regulations to get their money. And I was sitting around looking for a place to write, for support for some grants for our youth archery program for our archery club. And again, this is where the Bow Hunters Union worked out. So this is how it works. If you're a union member, okay, you can, through our donation request program, put in a request. It's up to you. You need $1,000, put in the request for 1,000. You need 500, you need 10. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying we're going to be able to grant every request, but we're always going to do something. We will never turn down a union member's request within reason. And basically, that request comes into your chapter steward right through our website. The chapter steward then brings it to our monthly board meeting. We vote on it, and we get their support out to you as quick as possible.
So if I'm out there in the hinterlands and say, hey, I'd sure like to get $500 for my archery club for youth, then they just get a hold of you. How do they get a hold of you?
Right. So a great place to start for everything is right on the website, which is bowhuntersunion.org. We are a nonprofit. And through there, there's questions about why you should join, how you should join, what you get when you join, which I know, of course, we'll cover here in a few minutes. But also there is a donation request form. You literally put it on there, and there's 8 chapters throughout the U.S. And when you put it in, you select your chapter, it goes right to that steward, and that steward brings it to the board meeting.
So you get 8 guys or gals. Do you have any women part of your team?
So not yet. We don't have any female stewards, not for lack of trying. It's basically, a lot of credit goes to the people that have come on as stewards already, because many of them are taking on in multiple states. It's a lot of customer service and a lot of emails, and putting their name out there and working hard because they're dedicated to it. So when I come to people, and so far, I mean, I've been blessed to get the guys I've got, and I honestly, I think 4 or 5 of my stewards have actually been guests on your show.
Really?
But
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So, we got Jake Hacker, the everyday outdoorsman in the Great Lakes. Dave Graham from Advanced Takedown Tree Stands. He's the Midwest steward. Taylor Hance from the Whitetail Widowmakers is we're running our South. And then Northeast chapter, I've got Dave Richmond. And then in the Appalachian, we have Eddie Fields. So I'm pretty sure 4 or 5 of those names will be familiar.
Right.
But so we're still, and that's a good point. We're still looking for a Rocky Mountain and a West. So I still got 2 staff spots open. So, but and again, if people are interested, bowhuntersunion.org is the great place to go. And you need to be a member before you can be a steward, but it's a great way to introduce yourself to us and get on the team.
Now, do you have any corporate sponsors yet?
We do have a few, and what we're doing more so than a sponsorship, because the way I look at sponsors is if I'm sponsored by, let's just say Matthews, right? If I'm sponsored by Matthews, it would be wrong for me, in my personal opinion, depending on the relationship I have with them, to then take money from PSE, you know. So instead of sponsorships, we're not really going that route. We do have supporters, of course. And um, as a member, we do have a thing called the Union News. It's a magazine that comes out. You get a copy of the magazine, and we do sell ad space. So let's take a Peterson's bow hunting magazine. Like when you look through it, there's of course advertisements from multiple different companies, right? They're not, because they're not sponsoring, they're advertising, and that's kind of what we're looking for. However, if someone wants to support the union, which they should as far as corporate goes, we also do require something from them that a lot of people doesn't. You're not just going to write a check and get a logo, placed in either on our website or, in our news. We need something back for you from our members, whether it's a small discount, whether it's, opportunity to win something. You have to not only support the union, but you have to support the union members, because again, I think that's the definition of the word union, is we're all in this together. So, and what we do with all those sponsorship monies, it just goes right back into our youth program. So that's really cool.
Yes, people ask all the time, especially in nonprofit world, how much money that comes in goes right back into the field.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I know whenever I look at nonprofits, that's exactly, there's all the internet reports and stuff. So we're 100% open, and we're so open that our board meetings are actually done via um, what we're doing right now, kind of like an app, a conference call. And before they happen, an email goes out to all the union members, and they can dial in and they can listen to the conference call. How many nonprofits are that open that you can listen to their private business dealings? Yeah, you might get minutes, but no, we want you there. And we record them. So if you can't be there live, we're still going to be wide open. So you're going to know exactly where the money's going, what decisions we're making, and how the union is running. So it's 100% open to all our members. But that being said, basically, um, how the financials break down is, for when the dues come in, for 40% of our dues go to operating costs, and 60% goes to outreach. Now that's just for the regular membership dues. Now we have a life membership that we sell, retail memberships that we sell, and the industries. 100% of that all goes into outreach. And then any merchandise or special events profits, because we do some really cool special events that we have coming up. All that profits goes right into our youth outreach. So, it's the only thing that we are doing is taking money to run the organization, and keep the lights on, and everything else is going into what we need to do to support our members.
Now, what's the role of one of your district or area stewards? What do they do over and above a member?
Sure. So they will be basically a customer service agent, of course, for the members. Now I'm the chief steward, so I'm the steward's boss. But of course, a member can come to me. It's no big deal. But they will be more apprised. So let's say a member in Arkansas, right? A member in Arkansas has an issue with maybe the state Senate has a bill on the table to limit access to public lands, or something that's going to affect bow hunters, right? He can then go through his steward, who, the steward's going to live in the South. He might know the area better. He might know, um, those senators. It's easier for a steward who's got, 5 states to know 10 senators than for me to know all 100 in all 50 states. So basically, the stewards work not only as they do most of the promotion for their chapters, but they're also a filter to kind of bring things things to the board of directors' attention.
Thanks for that. And, as we go through, as you grow, what are your goals for the next 18 months?
That's another great question. Yeah. So it's no secret we just launched, and I didn't think that we would be at this point already, but I'm very happy that we are. And so for the next 18 months, we have a couple of different things that will be happening. Of course, we want to grow our membership. We want to, solidify and be able to reach out more to the corporate things to, get more discounts and more free gear and more things for our membership, more support for our membership. We really want to make a difference in the youth archery world for clubs, established middle school archery teams, high school archery teams, really help where it's needed. And then we also have each chapter is going to have an archery weekend rendezvous, which is a huge event that we're doing. It's basically camping, 3D. It's going to be a 3D archery shoot. It'll take place at a club where you can camp there. There's hotels nearby, restaurants. And basically, it's just a bow hunters union festival, and it's 100% free for our members. So they can show up, they can camp for free. We're picking up the bill for that. They can shoot the 3D archery courses unlimited all weekend. We're picking up that. And it's just a great place for fellowship. And then at each rendezvous, the board of directors will be there, and we will have an open meeting so that we can hear, members at the rendezvous can bring any questions they have or suggestions they have right there directly to us. So really hands-on, really cool. Me and the stewards will be traveling a lot, but I wouldn't pass it up for anything.
How many bow hunters are there in the United States?
So yeah, when we started doing our research, when I looked just at my home state of Michigan, now Michigan's a little skewed because we have the second most, which surprised me. I thought we might be first, but so when you look at the big states, just at Iowa, Iowa sold 300,000 tags alone. Michigan is, believe it or not, right under 1 million tags. And
oh my goodness.
Pennsylvania is over that. Pennsylvania is even more tags. So, and of course, not every state breaks down bow hunting versus rifle hunting. So, of course, some of those million tags in Michigan are going to be guys that don't bow hunt. But I know in my circle, I don't know many people that just rifle hunt. So, the numbers aren't going to be enough just to skew them. But, nationwide, and when I compare it to, let's say, the NRA, and a lot of times, can't officially, advertise it as the NRA for archery, but it is kind of what we're going after. Is that, nationwide, if we can even get 10% or 5%, we are going to be an absolute dominant voice in the outdoors industry.
So did you come up with a final figure? I know you said Iowa and Michigan, Pennsylvania. I know Wisconsin, there's probably 250,000, 300,000, just thinking off the top of my head. But it'd be interesting to know how many bow hunters actually are out there.
Yeah.
The best way is, do they buy a license?
Right. So this figure is actually going to blow your mind. And when I was doing my research, it actually just came right from the ATA, and I trust them for,
Sure.
for everything. And it's 21.6 million.
21.6 million archery hunters in the United States.
That's according to the ATA. That's where we're at. Yep.
So if you got 1% of that, what's that? 21,000.
Yeah, we'd be. I want more than 1%.
Okay, I get that, Bill. I get that, but we just kicked it. Just kicked this thing off. So in the first 18 months, if you could approach 100,000 at all, that'd be huge.
Totally agree. Yeah. Like I said, 100,000. We're talking about a very small percentage just of what Iowa has alone.
Right.
So, and that is the goal, is to go that big. And honestly, the way the Bow Hunters Union is set up and the way it's working right now, we built it to go that big. So it is built and ready, and it could operate at those large numbers, no problem.
So it is scalable, for a bunch of people without adding overhead or administration costs.
Yeah, because the beauty of I did all the web design, and the beauty of the whole situation is that the way we built the website and the returning memberships and the yearly memberships, a lot of it on our end is automatic. Is so when someone signs up for the union, they're automatically sent a welcome membership packet, which includes, we should talk about that in just a second, which includes everything they get when they sign up. But they're also automatically sent the first edition of the union news, which is basically a welcome edition that has a nice little message from each of the chapter stewards and a couple different articles, how to articles, experience articles, stuff like that, stuff you would find in a typical hunting magazine. But a lot of that is automatic. But what's not automatic is then our chapter stewards make themselves available to the membership as well. And, we're going to be in touch with you. We're not the organization that you pay once because you feel like you ought to, or you feel like, you're supposed to as a bow hunter. And then, every year we hound you for more money. That's not us. We provide value to our memberships. And we honestly, I can tell you right now, we're going to provide way more value than what you're going to put in. So it's a win-win for both the organization and archery hunters as a whole.
You're thinking of value adds because I've joined quite a few conservation groups over the years, and just said I'm just going to become a life member because that's the cheapest way to go. But you think about what you really truly get. Yeah, you get some stickers and you get opportunities to join or go into this raffle and that raffle. But I think back, and what do you really get from them is really minuscule for what you paid for, a life member. Yeah, you get their magazines, and some of the magazines are, totally, worth it, and others not so much. And you just wonder, how you can really bring a value add. So people, you create a buzz on social media, the Instagrams and the Facebooks and Twitters of the world, and once you hit that, sitting here, once you hit that groundswell or that buzz or as they talk about going viral, um, you could really have some fun.
Yeah, in what's we could not only have some fun, but we are going to make a difference in the world, by putting bows in kids' hands directly. I've never seen anyone frown when they're shooting a bow. It's just fun, man. And you know what? And that is step one to getting them into being an archer hunter, a bow hunter. So, we talk about value adds, and I guess one way to start that part of the conversation is to tell people exactly what they get when they do sign up and how much it costs. We haven't actually talked about that. So it's $25 a year. That's it. Life membership's 500. So you know what? If you're interested in the life membership, it's going to save you money in the long run for as many years as most of us are going to be hunting. Um, but for your $25 a year, you're going to get, the decal, of course, because we got to send you, a card decal, so you can proudly say that you're a proud union member. You're going to get your copies of the Union News, which is our magazine. Of course, you're going to get a free copy of one of my favorite books, Loose Fletchings, but I might be biased because I wrote it. Again, we talked about the jamborees. You're going to get free admission, free camping to every jamboree, not just the one in your chapter. So if you live in one of those border states, that might work out for 2 great weekends a year. Of course, you're going to get special union member discounts from various manufacturers and supporters. And that's going to, if you, right, for example, right now we got outfitters giving 20% off. If you book one hunt, you've just paid for with that 20% off, you've just paid for your membership for multiple years, just in what you're saving right there. But, and in those things are going to keep growing. More and more companies are going to keep coming on, and but really, and I'm not trying to sound sappy here, Bruce, but I honestly believe, you're able to request donations for your youth archery. You're able to request support for anything political going on, like we talked about earlier. that maybe happened in your neck of the woods. But here's the most important thing. And I honestly, in my heart, this is the reason I started this organization. And this is why I feel you should become a member. You're going to have pride in knowing that your union dues are going to strengthen the future of bow hunting. And, think about the UAW. I'm in Michigan. We're a big, union land. So you got the UAW, you got the millwrights, you got Teamsters, you got all these, we'll call them workers unions, right? And how many stickers do you see going down the road? It says proud union member. I'm a proud union member of the Police Officers Association of Michigan. Okay. Proud union member. And that's what we want to have our members be. We want them to be proud, knowing that they are making a difference just by their membership.
Well said. Can I clap?
Yeah. Everyone else. Well, no, you know what? For those of you that don't know, Bruce has a hurt hand, so we don't want him to clap. But I'll tell you what, if he could, he would. But and in some of the other we talked about $25 a year for your membership. A life membership is $500. A junior membership, which I think is pretty cool, $5. Junior members, which is 17 and under. Say you're a 16-year-old kid, maybe parents aren't super into hunting, but you want to help support, and you want to be able to. Now think about this. A junior member kicks in $5, right? And he wants to start an archery club at his high school. He can then request donation to get the funding for that. Now, there's going to be, and that's all going to go through our chapter stewards. The chapter stewards would then reach out to the school and see what they need and see what the regulations are. But $5 a year for a junior member. And then if you're an archery club or an organization, it's $50 a year. And basically they get listed in every edition of the news. And if when they have archery shoots, so let's say you're an archery club and you've got a shoot every month. Well, what we do is you send us that schedule. We make sure that gets out to the members in your chapter so that our union members can then support the clubs that are proud union members. And then for retailers and manufacturers, of course, it's a little bit more expensive, but I think, if you're a major corporation or even a small business, it's pretty darn affordable to be a union supporter. We made it to succeed. We made the barrier of entry very, very low.
When you think about each chapter, so what are they, hands-on? They're the voice of Bow Hunters Union locally. So what really do you want them to do? I know you're looking for a couple more in the country, but in your mind, what specific role do they play for you?
Sure. So, just some of the requirements of the stewards is, I need a chapter update from them for every edition of the news, right? And that's written. They don't have to be a writer. I'll make it look pretty. they just need to provide. These are the wins. This is what we're doing. This is the donations. A lot of it's going to be social media. Here is the pictures from the club that we gave 10 bows to. And they facilitate all of that. Also, they are each in charge of setting up the rendezvous. I let them pick the clubs because they know the areas better. I'm in Michigan. How am I going to tell a guy in Colorado which archery club to host a jamboree at? I trust my stewards to be able to set that up, and what's funny is I think that these guys already are competing to who's going to have the best jamboree. They're going to be out gunning for each other already. But, and again, I'm going to be all of them. So maybe I'd be the best judge, but just really, that is it. It is a job. It is an important job, but again, if you look at other national organizations, they all, even bow hunting related ones, Bruce. For example, Pope and Young. Pope and Young's perfect one. Love Pope and Young. Love everything about them, except for there are some downsides to Pope and Young. One, I don't know who my representatives are at the state level or anything like that, and that's probably on my fault. But I don't necessarily feel like I have access to the leadership of the organization. The other thing is or you look at Rocky Mountain Elk. Rocky Mountain Elk, love them, support them. Had them on, my podcast. they're great people, great organization, but they don't deal with pronghorn, or they don't deal with bow fishing, or they don't deal with all the other aspects of archery hunting that we do as the Bow Hunters Union. Now, this question always comes up, and we 100% welcome crossbows. Uh, we view it as a projectile that's propelled by a string. It's archery to us, and you don't have that with some of the other national organizations. They view archery differently, and they set the tone for a lot of other organizations as well. A lot of other archery organizations go by the rules that perhaps Pope and Young sets up, and that's fine. We absolutely support them, but we are totally inclusive in the regards to, if you're shooting an arrow that's propelled by a string, you should be a union member.
Now, the airboat came out at ATA, well, this year, back in January, and I
Yep.
read in your FAQ, they're actually they're very they're easier to shoot than my crossbow,
Mm-hmm.
and they're deadly. I mean, I was trying to stack them. And I could stack them really easy, no space. I couldn't Robin Hood them. I really wanted to do that. But having said that, um, it's a projectile. So is it an archery, an element of archery or not? Or what's your standing on that?
So the Bowhunters Union official standing right now, again, right now, we don't set anything in stone. We live we live at the will of our members. So if our membership um, decided they wanted to do something differently, we would discuss that. But right now, we feel that airbows, they look really cool and they're really fun to shoot, and they definitely have their place in the outdoors world and hunting. However, to us, it's not right now considered archery equipment because the projectile is not propelled by a string. And you know what? That doesn't mean you won't see me shooting an airbow, because I think they look really cool and really fun. It just means that right now, um, our membership has decided that we don't consider that archery. But if you shoot an airbow, you are more than welcome to become a member of the Bow Hunters Union and then lobby for airbows to be considered archery equipment via our stance. We're open to all voices. You're welcome to come in, become a member, and make your opinion known.
And thanks for that. It sounds like you're trying to be all inclusive, which is difficult because a lot of people are going to pull on your strings, saying, "Well, we should be this, we should be that," so forth. Mechanical broadheads versus fixed broadheads. I remember that discussion, years back. Should be
Mm-hmm.
allowed. And, fiber optic sights versus just pins. I mean, the whole evolution of archery. I've been there for it for large people, and it's unbelievable where archery equipment is today. It's just
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's unbelievable.
yeah.
Uh,
You're absolutely right. I mean, I think it's no secret, Bruce. You've got a little bit more experience in life than me, in just in ages, but just in years. But really, look at your lifetime. There's been so much advance in the world of archery just in your lifetime. I would say more so compared to than any other time frame, any other. What are you, like 55 now, right? So any other
you're kind.
any other 50 years in human history, there has never been the advance in archery technology than what you've seen in your lifetime. Even if we go back to the invention of the first medieval crossbows, right? Okay, they had crossbows, great. Then that's about it. Um, the amount of technology and craftsmanship, and let's just put this out, there's not any crappy bows on the market. If you remember the 80s when there was like two or three good bow companies and a ton of crap, we don't even have crap anymore because
They're all good.
they're all good. Everybody's doing it right. So, it used to be I'm a Matthews guy, I'm a Jennings guy, I'm a Golden Eagle guy, and then it was like the Chevy, Ford, Dodge argument all over again. And you can't even have that in archery because now everyone respects each other. So I bring that up to say this. Who knows where we're going to be in another 50 years? I can tell you this. We're probably going to get faster. We're probably going to get lighter, and we're going to get more efficient. that's just a wild guess. You know, I saw an ad the other day for Bluetooth lighted knocks. So you find your
Right.
lost arrows. So I mean, the options are endless, and we as a union would be silly to say this is our constitution, these are our bylaws, and they are set in stone. It makes no sense because we want to grow archery with the growth of archery.
You mentioned I just got a new Excalibur crossbow, 380 feet per second.
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, at 20 yards, you pull the trigger and it's there. I mean, it's just, it's,
you know, and
it's
I'm not here
incredible.
to challenge you or anything, but that is 26 mile or 26 feet per second slower than my mission. So here,
Well,
Chevy,
yeah,
Ford,
that's what,
Dodge.
whatever. I shoot a crossbow, so that's what I'm sticking with because
No,
I
yeah,
have
no,
to.
yeah,
I have
Mission's
to.
got a crossbow out now, burning 400 feet per second.
Isn't that something?
It is just
That's insane.
it's badass. Let's just call it what it is. It is awesome, and for guys, and not only guys, getting up in age that maybe have shoulder injuries or hand injuries, but let's talk about youth. Let's talk about how many more kids are getting hunting earlier because with archery, because of the use of crossbows. It's unreal.
And women
I
too. Don't forget the women, and don't forget the
oh,
vets. That's a
it,
big part, that I talk about all the time here in Colorado Bow Hunters Association. We have interesting discussion, and I just said, what about all these vets that the only way they're going to hunt is because they have the ability to crank a crossbow. They're not even pulling it to they're just cranking it, and
right,
you know, but they're still hunting. They're still buying a hunting license. They're shooting either mechanical or fixed broadhead.
right.
It's still a stick and a string, albeit on a rail. But
Right. No, absolutely. A perfect example is, they are putting, and I know we're not here to like talk up crossbows, but they are putting people in the woods who wouldn't be in the woods normally.
no question
Like I
about it.
said, youth, injuries, archery, even if a vet has PSTD and doesn't want to be shooting firearms, you have a broad range of people. And that is exactly why the Bow Hunters Union supports them.
Yeah. What else? What else? We're getting here. What do you want to wrap up with? What do you want to share?
Sure. I think the biggest point for people is to realize that it's all of our responsibilities, to promote and foster the growth of archery because be it as it may, we are the minority. Even in the hunting world, we are the minority. We're growing, of course, but in the world of hunters versus non-hunters, and we have to stand together, and we have to do that by joining organizations, even if it's not mine. Join another one, your state level bow hunting agency, the people that are fighting and not only fighting for your rights, but protecting your rights, and also you know, the best place to do that is to start right at bowhuntersunion.org. All the information we talked about is here today is on that website. It's very easy to sign up. It's $25 a year through PayPal, and you don't even have to remember to sign up every year because you can just do a subscription just like you would do to a magazine. Our magazine is worth the price of admission alone. Plus, you're going to get all the other benefits. We add more value to this union for our members than I believe any other organization does. And we really are going to be the future and the voice of every guy that carries a stick and a string and chases wild game in North America.
Bill Hoffman, thank you so much for being a guest on Whitetail Rendezvous. And it's a pleasure to watch where you're going. And we're going to break off here. But then in the post show, I got a couple ideas. So, Bill, thank you so much for being a guest.
Hey, thanks for having me again. And maybe I'll break the record someday in the future and be a third time guest.
You're not going to want to miss the next episode. I know I always say that, but we're going to have a survivalist from Discovery's channel, Naked and Afraid. Now, this show will already had been on. Samantha Old will air on Discovery Channel the 13th of August. So if you're listening to the show after that, you've already seeing her success. We won't talk much about Discovery Channel on the episode, but we will ask you to, hopefully check it out and, give some social media comments. Having said that, Samantha loves to hunt whitetails. We're going to have a great talk about what it takes to close the deal, and it's not so much the amount of bone on the head; it's the meat on the table. And the olds hunt; they're meat hunters, and they'll shoot does every year, and then they'll take a buck that fills the table. And her and the husband, they put 4 deer in the freezer, and that's what feeds them all through the winter and most of the spring. So, having said that, sit back, relax, and enjoy Samantha Ohl as she shares her tales about hunting whitetail bucks in Pennsylvania.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.